Alright guys, we're doing a very quick video on power levels of Dragon Ball Z. So now we have a much more crystal clear picture of things ever since Dragon Ball Super has been released. So for you novices, before we get into anything too deep, let's just go over the general Dragon Ball Z trajectory. So there's Dragon Ball when Goku was still a kid. Then there's Dragon Ball Z, which went all the way from Frieza, the first Frieza fight, to Majin Buu being defeated. And then there's Dragon Ball GT, which was all the Super Saiyan 4 stuff, the weird, Dragon God stuff. Goten is old, Trunks is old. And most people, generally speaking, if you talk to like most Dragon Ball Z fans, they don't realize that Dragon Ball GT is non-canon, which pretty much means that it was created by someone that was not the original creator of Dragon Ball Z. So all that stuff was fan-made, and most enthusiasts consider that, non-canon and therefore not part of the actual story and not properly credited. And it seems like, generally speaking, we do see some hints of Dragon Ball Super diverging from the plot of Dragon Ball GT. So now there's Dragon Ball Super, which, if you guys don't know, this Akira Toriyama, the creator of this whole thing, has now, after a long hiatus, over 10 years ago, he has returned, and now he's continued the storyline after Dragon Ball Z. So we're all very excited about that. With advancements in technology, give or take, some things are a little bit worse, some things are better. I do miss the deep narrator, that deep chocolatey narrator voice from Dragon Ball Z that narrated every episode. I do miss that a lot, and some of these things are a bit cheesy, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to like this. At first I hated it a bit, I just thought, this is cheesy. They're just gonna make Goku have blue hair now, and then just gonna bring back Frieza and make him gold. Talk about unoriginal. But honestly, these god characters are really starting to dawn on me. Like, honestly, they got a lot of hate. A lot of people I know in real life, they hated these god characters. They're like, really, a cat? This sucks. But honestly, it's getting a lot of attention, and I'm really starting to get into it again. And I can see a lot of people getting into this again. So that's the big introduction. Now let's get into the meat of this video. Who's number one? So we're going to discount GT because it's non-canon. According to Dragon Ball Super, it's very clear now. So before Dragon Ball Super, it was pretty much that, it was a toss-up. And there's obviously a bit of tons of debate, but now that Dragon Ball Super has come along, it's kind of cleared all that to the wayside, because now these gods have come in and their power levels are so much higher than all this debate that came earlier, that all of that it's kind of like blown out of the water. Like, who cares anymore? We're looking at the strongest people ever. No longer do we care about something as simple as, who is better, Goten or Gohan in his ultimate form, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? So, here's the thing. Everyone has been pointing to Whis as the strongest in Dragon Ball Z history. And there's been videos made about these power levels, and they're literally pointing at Whis as the #1 strongest person ever, which is arguably correct, because it acknowledges that Beerus is weaker than Whis, and it's clearly stated that Whis is stronger, and it's very clear. And the thing is, there's been tons of YouTube videos made that get tons of views, and they're saying that Whis is the strongest. Now, I do like Whis a lot. I wish he is the strongest. I hope he is the strongest. He seems to be the strongest right now. But is he really the strongest? Because Vados, who is Whis' sister, has claimed that she's stronger than Whis. But then what happened was Whis said, no, that's no longer true. our last fight was 1,000 years ago. So obviously, there's a bit of ambiguity and mystery there, to the point where even Whis doesn't know and Vados doesn't know. Possibly, Whis is just covering up. Whis knows Vados is still stronger, but he has an ego to protect. We don't know. We do know that at one point in the past, there was someone even stronger than stronger than Whis there, who was Vados. So, just to cement things, let's just make it clear. At this point, Beerus is stronger than anything that's ever occurred in Dragon Ball Z history. I'm not even going to factor in GT because none of that's canon. As far as we know of, Beerus is stronger than anything we know of. Any other villains, any other heroes, any other Z characters, for sure. Including fusions. That's just very clear. Beerus clearly stated that he was fighting at only 70% of his power, and he easily defeated Goku. And Goku was just like literally done. And that was with a completely newly invented Super Saiyan form in order to fight Beerus, which required pretty much 4 other Saiyans. 4 other pure-hearted Saiyans. So it's literally a 5-person fusion technically. So arguably, this Super Saiyan God, which is ultimately even stronger, arguably, than Gogeta or Vegeta or whatever you have it, they don't come close to Beerus. And then we have Whis, who, for whatever reason, he's stronger than Beerus, but he acts as Beerus's servant, caretaker, and master, which is kind of weird. Now, here's the thing that I find very interesting. With Whis, this guy is clearly a god. Like, he can turn back time, but only for the last 3 minutes. He can move through supernovas and nebulas. He literally fights effortlessly against Goku and Vegeta at the same time. And it's just, he's clearly on a different level. I really like him as a character. He's just a very funny, interesting personality. Both of them love food, which is just hysterical. These gods who can do all these crazy stuff, but they still just love food. They don't know what pizza is. I find it hysterical. And honestly, long story short, love Dragon Ball Z for what it's done. I've grown up with it, and me being Asian, it's just been great as an Asian American, because to see every color of American embrace Dragon Ball Z, whether you're black or white, I just felt included, because I was Asian, and that wasn't something that was common, and yet I saw superheroes that were Asian for once. And although they're Japanese, they were closer to me, and I felt more accepted when I realized so many different ethnicities love this. So quick shout out to that. Now back to the whole thing. The point of this whole thing is that the author made this intentionally to make us debate, for the fans, the fanatics, to fight it over. He made it ambiguous on purpose because he knows it spurs on discussion and fights and stuff. So don't be duped by this whole thing. It's not like there's some like end all be all, unless he clearly makes it so, which I think currently he's made it so. But the ambiguity, the mystery is put there on purpose for us to fight amongst ourselves and debate who's better and who's worse. And keep watching the shows, buy merchandise and all this stuff. I mean, it's become a franchise. We have action figurines, we have everything. So here's the thing that I have to emphasize before everyone goes off on a tangent in the comments fighting. Remember that this is a fictional story, so the author can do whatever he wants. If he wants to, he can invent 5 other characters that are 10 times as strong as these. it's getting harder and harder for him to do so because like you know, you're getting to a point where literally like how strong can you get? Can you get to a point where you literally have to think and you can destroy the entire universe? Like that's pretty much the epitome of as strong as you can get. So the author really has to be more creative in how he goes. This is an age-old dilemma that's plagued DBZ, it's plagued other animes, it's plagued, you know, cartoons, Marvel heroes. I mean, you can only get so strong. Superman can only get so strong before the authors have to start inventing new stuff. So remember that, like the whole thing is just made up from some human's mind, and they're just, you know, playing stuff. Honestly, I love where this is going really, because I think what makes this show more than anything is the creativity. It's not just fighting. There's a bunch of personality added to the characters. I really like this Whis character and the Bears character. They definitely have distinct personalities to them, and that really just makes this whole thing as great as it is. And honestly, you know, I personally think that Whis' sister is probably a slight bit stronger. And here's the thing, the author can do whatever he chooses. He can flip a coin and say, okay, I'm going to decide, no, this guy's going to be stronger. And it seems, as it's playing out, that, heck, it seems to be like a family ordeal. So it seems like these people are all just children. So that may mean that there's parents to these gods. I mean, this is nothing really new. I mean, it may be new to an Americanized person, but like, if you study like ancient Chinese religion or mythology or whatever, Greek mythology, Indian, whatever, there's literally like thousands of gods with their own stories that intertwine them. So it's nothing new in that sense, but nonetheless, for them to bring it into the DBZ world, it is the ultimate entertainment. Personally, I love it. I feel like Akira Toriyama, he's doing something great, and he's not letting the pressure get to him. So that's all I gotta say. Let's have it in the comments below.